and welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a quick preview of what I got coming up in this video. The first is this clip from the Joe Rogan show. Someone in the comments had asked me to take a look at this. It's titled "What's Going On with Alien Abductions," and Joe Rogan gives a brief explanation of what he believes is going on. So yeah, someone asked me to give it a quick review, so I'll do that. Also have this video here, just short 51-second video of a fleet of UFOs, UAPs, captured by the International Space Station. And then this is five bizarre accounts from history of UFO sightings. You know, like I've always said before, these sightings have been going on for literally thousands of years. You know, there are documents that are written in Latin from what, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago that talk about soldiers who were seeing luminous objects in the sky. So again, it's pretty obvious at this point that you know, a lot of these sightings originate from here, from Earth, and they're not all visitors. I'm sure some of them are visitors, but not all of them. Also have this clip here: 20 unsettling signs of alien life leaked by Anonymous. Now, yeah, there's 20 different clips. This is a compilation video of different sightings, but you know, this one here shows just a photo of, you know, what appears to be some type of alien being. Now, of course, I have no idea whether this is credible or valid or not, but the link to this video will be in the description, so you know, you can check it out yourself and come to your own conclusions. Also have this short clip from Robert Dean talking about how a study that was conducted in the 1960s by our government, you know, studied the UFO phenomenon, and they concluded, you know, he says that there are 4 visitors, but you know, like I said, I don't think they're all visitors, and I think, you know, actually, you know, I was thinking about this. I think Robert Dean is basically playing the same role, you know, during this period. This probably came out maybe in the I don't know, late 70s or the 80s or something like that. I think he's playing the same role as people like Lou Elizondo or Stephen Greer are playing, right? Because we all know that that they're connected to the government, or even, you know, this David Grosh guy, right? I mean, you know, they're called whistleblowers, but I think they represent different factions within the government who are tasked with revealing certain aspects of the UFO phenomenon in order to prepare the public for, you know, the greater revelation that's going to take place. And then last is this video here that it's an analysis of the Holloman UFO landing. Now, you know, I've talked about this before, and you know, I have always thought, you know, I mean, I was told that, you know, this clip here shows a UFO coming in for a landing at Holloman Air Force Base, but this guy here, his website or his channel here suddenly, he does a pretty good analysis of this to prove that this landing wasn't a UFO landing. It was a landing of I think it was an F4 jet. You know, just it's a jet. So again, this is another one of those clips that I think, you know, that's released by certain factions within the government. Now remember, you know, when I say the government is an umbrella term that actually represents multiple factions, and I think all of these different parts of the government all have their own particular agenda. You know, there are some factions within the government who don't want this information released. There are others who want all of it released, and then there are some that only want certain bits of information released as long as it fits into their narrative, right? They don't, you know, they don't want us to know the entire truth, just, you know, the truth as they see, or as they believe that, you know, that we as a society or we as a culture are ready to accept. But anyways, yeah, you know what? If you appreciate the time and effort that I put into bringing this information to you, please give this video a like. please share this video, and more importantly, please subscribe. It really helps me out. But anyways, let's let me play this little clip here of what Rogan talking about what he believes alien abductions are, and then I'll give my opinion on that.
Like this, and that when you are getting abducted, you really are getting abducted. Like whatever your being is, or your spirit, or whatever is you, is getting, you're interacting with these things. And it feels real because it is real. And because we're thinking about the ability to come in contact with other life forms as being a physical thing. It might be that there's a chemical gateway in your mind that when breached, you enter into a dimension where physical bodies don't exist anymore, and everything moves in this constant soup of geometric patterns. And that whatever your consciousness is, whatever your soul is decoupled from the body and thrown into this realm.
I imagine that's probably what happens at death.
It probably is what happens.
Yeah, now, although I can I understand what he's saying and I can accept some of it, here's the thing, a lot of times when we hear about people who have been abducted, they go through that missing time phenomenon, right? Where they don't realize that they were abducted, or that, hours may have passed by. But, you always hear the stories about people who were looking for them, or waiting for them to arrive at a specific location. And they tell the people, you've been gone for 4 hours, you've been gone for 6 hours, when the person being abducted, had no idea that much time had passed by. So I believe, that the abduction phenomenon is real, that it's happening. It's not, it's not something that's only happening within the mind of the individual being abducted, like Joe was saying, because if that was the case, right, time would still pass, within, outside of the person's consciousness, right? Time wouldn't change. The passage of time would not change. But the fact that these people literally go missing for hours on end, again, because there are people who are waiting for them, or the people that get abducted in planes, right? They either arrive at their landing zone, or where they were going to land early, or hours later, which indicates to me that that they were physically gone from this reality. That it's not just their mind that's entering into some dimension, as Joe Rogan tries to explain here, but that the person's physical body is taken to another location and experimented on, or whatever, by these quote unquote alien entities, and then returned back hours later. So yeah, I believe that, yeah, the abduction phenomenon is something that's real. It's something that physically happens to the individual. It's not something that's just happening within within the person's mind, so to say, or that that they're entering different dimensions. Like, I've said this before, that yeah, we're not alone on the planet, that we must be some type of experiment, and some of us, for whatever reason, are abducted and analyzed and tested and researched by whatever this group is that's conducting this experiment called humanity, or this, yeah, the yeah, within our culture, or within our existence as humans. But anyways, yeah, link will be in the description. Let's see, this is a quick video here. Fleet of UFOs, UAPs captured by the International Space Station. Let me just back this up a hair. Yes, I wonder, are these all individual? Like, is each one of these lights an individual ship? Or does, this whole thing represent a singular object, and these are just the lights on, these singular objects, or, or is it just, is this whole thing here one giant object, and these are just like lights that are within or on this singular or on this large object. Yeah, because you can see how, I'm not seeing any. Oh, maybe there was some individual movement. I don't know, but this, like I've said before, this isn't anything unusual, right? There are literally hundreds of these videos of objects, exiting our atmosphere and, re-entering our atmosphere. They're leaving and coming back from this planet because this is their home too. And, slowly but surely, we are being told that, that we're not alone on this planet. Yeah, and again, here's a video here, 5 bizarre accounts from history. This is from 74 BC, right, of soldiers seeing
20,000
crafts.
soldiers and 2,500 horsemen. But when he had come within sight of the enemy and seen with amazement their multitude, he desired to refrain from battle and draw out the time. But presently, as they were on the point of joining battle, with no apparent change of weather, but all on a sudden, the sky burst asunder, and a huge, flame-like body was seen to fall between the two armies. In shape, it was most like a wine jar, and in colour, like molten silver.
Yeah, so there's that one here. Let's see, there's here from 1561. This is the Nuremberg, where they believe that there was a battle taking place.
In the month of April 14th, 1561, at daybreak, between 4 and 5 a.m., a dreadful apparition occurred on the sun. And this was seen in Nuremberg, in the city, before the gates and in the country, by many men and women. At first, there appeared in the middle of the sun 2 blood-red semicircular arcs, just like the moon in the last quarter. Above and below and on both sides of the sun, the colour was blood, and in the sun there stood a round ball of partly dull, partly black, ferrous colour. In between these globes there were visible a few blood-red crosses, between which there were blood-red strips, becoming thicker to the rear and in the front malleable, like the rods of reed grass.
Yeah, see, I think that they're talking about the cylindrical shaped UFOs. Let's see, here's from 1639, and then here's another one from 1803 in, in Japan, where some of these Japanese people found this craft, and a female came out. Here's the supposed female that came out of this ship carrying some type of box. Here's 1896, Oakland, California. 1800s, they called them airships back then, and in a lot of these newspaper clippings from the 1800s, they report that some people were actually offered rides in these ships and taken to, I don't know if they're taken to other planets or just taken for a ride. And people do describe seeing the Earth from inside these ships, up high in the air. Anyways, that's that. Link will be in the description. And then now here, this clip here talks about 20 different sightings of UFOs. This one here is
straight out of a sci-fi blockbuster, and we're loving every minute of it. Could it be a super advanced spy gadget from a foreign power, like the elusive Chinese spy balloon that soared over North America in recent months? Or is it something else entirely, an interstellar traveler dropping by to say, hey, what's up? Well, you know what they say, truth is often stranger than fiction. The real truth is, at the time this footage was captured, the world was filled with UAP sightings over not just the United States, but Canada, Colombia, and Costa Rica too. Whatever the case, it's clear that something extraordinary is happening up there. Can you imagine the excitement and intrigue these pilots must feel as they track such a mysterious visitor? It's like they're living out an episode of The X-Files. Well, the truth is, without the recent revelations in U.S. Congress about confirmation...
Yeah, look at the ship that this guy captured, right? It's a classic saucer-shaped ship in this one. Let's see, what else I got here? Yeah, here's some strange phenomena that happen in the sky. Yeah, this one here, I believe this is a sighting that took place in New Jersey. And, you know, in this clip, they try to say that that this was the Goodyear blimp. Again, this was not the Goodyear blimp. You know, that's a cover story. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, here they talk about UFOs that was seen going behind
an
an exploding
identified flying
volcano.
object remaining unanswered, shrouded in a veil of uncertainty. Whether it's an otherworldly visitor or an everyday occurrence, volcanoes and aliens are a pretty terrifying combination. Glowing orbs, filmed off...
Yeah, this is from North Carolina. These glowing orbs that some guy captured. And again, you know, they always try to explain this away as like, oh, they're drones. Again, you know, there are no drones that could stay out in the middle of the ocean for hours on end. You know, like what's the battery source that they're using for that in order to make that happen? Let's see. Oh yeah, this is also shows a sighting that was in China. But you know, yeah, what I find strange is this one here.
Missing topic. Let's pause there because the truth is we definitely can't continue without discussing this startling image. Allegedly, this image was leaked by a whistleblower and is said to be definitive proof of the existence of gray aliens. For those that don't know, gray aliens are an enigmatic extraterrestrial life form that's permeated popular culture for decades. With their large, almond-shaped eyes, elongated head, and slender limbs, the gray alien remains a symbol of extraterrestrial encounters the world over. The question that lingers, however, is whether this image depicts an extraterrestrial being or the product of some creative imagination.
Yeah, you know, if anyone knows, again, you know, although this definitely looks real, let me go back to that again. 1533.
Missing topic. Let's pause there.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I'm going to put this out to the internet. You know, I mean, if someone can tell me what movie this is from or show me a link to some production company that claims that they've made it, I'm going to conclude that that this is real. But, you know, again, I'm always open to being wrong. Let's see. There's also showing some kind of phenomena that happened here in China. Yeah, and this is, you know, 20 different sightings. Yeah, this is some kind of shape-shifting UFO that was seen. I think this actually, you know, this was seen a couple times. Here's a cylindrical one that they're saying, you know, oh, it's a giant snake in the sky. Anyways, yeah, 20 different clips. Oops, I don't know what that was. Let's see. So, anyways, link to this will be in the description. Now, let's see. This is a small clip from Robert Dean, who worked at like some kind of, yeah, he had cosmic top secret clearance, and he talks about how he came across documents explaining that there were, you know, parts of our government that have been doing research on the UFO phenomenon since the 1960s. So, you know, anytime you hear NASA or any other government agencies that that claim, oh, we're still collecting data. That's nonsense. They're bullshitting us, right? Because the governments have been studying this phenomenon since the 1940s, right? Since before the Roswell crash. So, yeah, anytime you hear NASA, trying to explain away how they don't know anything, or even like the Air Force talking about, oh, we still are gathering data. Yeah, they're gaslighting us, bullshitting us, because they know a lot more than what they're letting us know. But anyways, check out what Mr. Dean has to say here.
Because I read firsthand reports, verifiable NATO military material that indicated that the UFOs were not only real, but they represented something far beyond anything I had ever imagined before. When the study was concluded in '64, they concluded that there were 4 different groups apparently coming and visiting us.
Yeah, remember, like when he says they're visiting us, I don't believe that the 4 that they're talking about are visitors. I believe that that Robert Dean was given permission to release this information as long as he kept the story within a particular narrative. And I think part of that narrative is to still brainwash us into believing that these are visitors, because even at this time, I don't think they felt like the public was ready to hear the fact that that these beings actually live here on Earth with us, that they're not visitors.
Out of those 4 different groups, one group looked exactly like we do, so much so that they could sit beside you in a restaurant or in an airplane or in a theater, and you'd never know. And that particular point bothered the military guys a lot. The point being that some of these people from somewhere could be walking up and down the corridors of SHAPE headquarters, or they could be walking up and down the corridors of the Pentagon. One day at lunch, a lieutenant colonel made the remark, he says, Jesus, do you realize they could even be in the White House? And there was a little forced laughter at that point, I remember, because a lot of us over the years have had some misgivings about the occupants of the White House. But the point I'm making is that the idea that aliens could be here in our midst bothered the military, because if you're not paranoid when you go into the service, you're certainly trained very quickly to be so. It's the nature of the military mind, I think, to be paranoid. But that was only part of the story. The SHAPE conclusions in '64 were that there were 4 groups that we knew of. They were apparently interplanetary. Some very likely were interstellar. They even concluded that some of them could be intergalactic. When I retired in 1976, many of our military people knew at that point that we were not simply dealing with visitations from people from other planets or star systems. They had concluded by '76 that some of these visitors very well might be multidimensional in their source. The evidence that we had collected and the evidence that they had repeatedly demonstrated to us, and that's no accident. It became very clear after a time that there was a program or a process of some kind underway, that they had demonstrated over and over and over again that they apparently were able to manipulate matter and time. Now, this really shook up our scientists. There are a lot of new young scientists in particle physics today who talk about multiple dimensions. There's a brilliant young professor in New York by the name of Michio Kaku, who has written a brilliant book called Hyperspace, where they talk about 10 separate dimensions.
Real quick, although I believe that some of our advanced neighbors have the ability to travel interdimensionally or enter other dimensions, and most likely have the ability to travel to faraway planets, it still doesn't change the fact that these beings are a part of our physical world. that they don't exist in an alternate dimension, and that they're coming in and out of uh, of of this of this separate dimension, during the times that we do detect them. I think we just occasionally detect them when, for whatever reason, they aren't cloaked, they aren't trying to hide themselves, but I think there's a lot of evidence to indicate that there must be bases, or areas under our oceans which is occupied by them. I believe that some of them live in the center of the earth. They probably enter in through the Antarctic, and they live in deep earth caverns. And someone in the comments who was he wanted to talk about the flat earth. I really don't. I have no desire to debate anyone about about their flat earth theory. If you want to believe that the earth is flat, I'm not going to have a debate with with anyone about that. You can believe whatever you want to believe, right? This is America. But anyways, he had mentioned some brine lakes at the bottom of the ocean, especially I think that's in the Gulf of Mexico. And I've said this before. I believe those brine lakes are the gateway into the interior of our planet. And the reason why we aren't able to go through them, because the story that I read, and even what he mentions, is that somebody with a submarine tried to enter into one of these brine lakes, but because of the salt content, the submarine was unable to penetrate these lakes. But again, if we know that the crafts that we see flying around have the ability to go from the oceans to the air and into space, right? So if they can travel through all those different environments, then I don't think they would have any problem, right, penetrating these brine lakes. And in the same way that we're unable to penetrate them, their crafts must be able to penetrate these brine lakes, and I believe that that's the gateway into their realm. But anyways, that's as much as I want to play of Mr. Dean here. Link will be in the description if you want to hear what else he has to say. But this last is this about the Holloman Air Force Base here. I think people have. Let me just play the beginning here.
Learned about it, and I thought now might be a good time to make this video and share some new data.
Yeah, see, this is the the clip that I've played this before, and believe that this was a UFO coming in from a landing, a visit. But this guy here shows that how no, it's merely a jet. So let me just play a little bit of this. Where he comes to the conclusion based on his analysis that this is just a jet.
It's a plane. The details are faint, but the wings and landing gear are unmistakable. The YouTube compression might completely obliterate the details here, so I'm going to let it play a few times while I tweak the settings on the footage. It won't be pretty, but I'm hoping one of these combinations will help the wings and the landing gear.
Yeah, you can see here that this is definitely a plane. A jet.
Survive the compression process.
Here you can see the landing gear here. You can see the wings, top of the cockpit.
Now, you may be wondering, what is the round white glowing thing? And that's a good question. My first instinct was that the film was being run in reverse, and that what we're actually seeing are the plane's afterburners as it flies away from us. But the landing gear is clearly down, and if the plane was heading away from us, the landing gear would have already been stowed, so it's likely coming in for a landing rather than taking off. Now, we know the base had F-4s at the time, so it's logical to wonder if the incoming plane might also be a Phantom. And as shown in this footage, the F-4 Phantom had an intensely bright light that was sometimes used during landing, strong enough to flare a camera lens even in broad daylight. Is it possible that this light is what we're seeing in the footage? Well, let's do a quick comparison between the craft in the footage and a photo of an F-4 landing with its light on. It's purely subjective, but that looks like a pretty close match to me.
Yep. So, yeah, I believe it too. Again, this is, I don't know why we're fooled into believing that, some of the footage that's released are UFOs. But, like I've said before, there are videos that I believed were fake that ended up being real, and footage that that I believe was real ended up being fake. This is one of the, this is a perfect example of footage that I've always believed was real. Was footage of a UFO coming in for a landing, but like this guy, shows you here. Nope, this is just merely an F-4 Phantom coming in for a landing, and I got to believe that, yeah, based on his analysis, that he's right. So, it's always good to be skeptical. It's always good to be, like I've always said, I'm always open to being wrong. But I always provide links to all of these videos because, yeah, I don't want to tell anyone what they can or can't believe. I think people are smart enough to come to their own conclusions. So I'm always going to provide the links to these videos, at least. I'm sure you've noticed that every other video I do one of these where I provide some commentary, and then I upload the videos from that IP address of just different sightings around the world, and different people have asked me to provide the IP address. But you know what? I'm not going to, because I used to, before my original channel was taken down, I would do live streams, and I would openly show the IP address, or when people ask me, I would freely give it to them. And all I would ask is that people just like the video and subscribe. But for whatever reason, people wouldn't. And even now, if you look at the analytics, only 1 out of 10 people are actually subscribing. So yeah, I feel like if the majority of people aren't willing to subscribe or like my videos, then there's no reason why I should sort of like give away the golden goose. I'm going to keep that IP address to myself, and hopefully increase my subs. But you know what? If you do some research, it's out there, right? I'm sure, yeah, there are places you can go and find some, or find the IP address. The information is out there, but I'm not just going to readily give it away. Like I said, especially when the majority of people can't simply like the videos or subscribe to my channel. But anyways, thank you so much for making it to the end. As I said before, if you appreciate the time and effort that I put into bringing this information to you, please give this video a like. Please share this video, and more importantly, please subscribe. It really helps me out. Until next time, take care.